I thought I would take a lesson from today. This is the lesson from March 13th, 2017, and we are talking about parallel and perpendicular lines. So we started off the lesson by just looking at the different graphs of the different types of slopes that we may have. So this is an example of a line with a positive slope. So in this case, m is always represented by the slope. I can have m is equal to 2, or m can be 1/2, or m can be 7/8, and an equation of a line would be like y is equal to 1/2 plus x plus 8. That would be an example. Now then we have lines with a negative slope, so m could be like -2, -1/2, or -7/8. And an example of this would be y is equal to -1/2 x plus 8. And then we have a line with a slope of 0. It's a horizontal line, and this has a slope of 0. And so it's going to be like y is equal to 4, would be my slope of 0. And a line that has an undefined slope is actually going to, my slope is undefined, and that means that it's like -9/0, okay? That would be an example of an undefined slope. Over here, this could be 0 divided by -9, and you would plug this into the calculator and you could actually get 0 as an answer here. But the divisor can never be 0, or the denominator can never be 0. So in this case, this ends up being an equation that looks like x is equal to 2. Okay? It can't even be put in the form y is equal to mx plus b. So then we moved on to talk about the slope-intercept form, which is a very important concept that we're going to be using over the next few days. And slope-intercept form is the equation of a line, y is equal to mx plus b, where m is equal to the slope, b is equal to the y-intercept, and then xy is actually a point on the line. And then we talked about the symbol for a parallel line looks like 2 L's from parallel, and they do not, parallel lines do not intersect and have slopes that are equal to each other. So an example of this I will write down below, and I will, so if I have an equation of a line that is y is equal to 3x plus 8, another equation of a line that is parallel would be y is equal to 3x minus 4, okay? As long as the slopes are equal, the m's are equal. Now, perpendicular lines that intersect, they form right angles, and they have slopes that are the negative reciprocal of each other. And what I'm talking about here is where I have y is equal to 3x plus 8, if I'm talking about a line that's perpendicular, so these are parallel, and this would be perpendicular. And this would be y is equal to negative, because it's the opposite, 1/3, because I flip the fraction 3/1, x plus 8 would be a line that is perpendicular to the line 3x plus 8. So another concept that we talked about was coinciding lines. Now coinciding lines are lines that are on top of each other, and these have the exact same equations. Exact same equations, and this has, that means that m is equal to the same and b is equal to the same number. Okay? So that kind of explains what you're going to be doing on the next page. And the first thing we talked about, we are determining whether each pair of these lines is parallel, perpendicular, coinciding, or none of the above, or none of these. And none of these just means that they intersect, but they're not at a 90-degree angle, and they're not right on top of each other. So I'm going to do one that we didn't do, and I'm going to start with B, because I know if the lines are parallel, m's are the same. If the lines are perpendicular, m's are the negative reciprocal. Okay? And then if they're coinciding, m's are the same, and we'll just put M and these are same. And then none of the above, they are just equations of a line, and they will eventually intersect. If they're not parallel, they will eventually intersect somewhere. So that my first step always is to put my equation into the slope-intercept form. And how I would do that is just to isolate my y on one side of the equation and get my x, my slope, my x, and the y-intercept on the other side of the equation. So my first equation in slope-intercept form is y is equal to negative 2x. So what I'm looking for, if it's parallel, I'm going to have a slope of negative 2. If it's perpendicular, I'm going to have a slope of 1/2, positive 1/2. And if it's the same exact, it's going to have a slope of negative 1 and an intercept of 4. And then if it just intersects none of the special ones above, then it just will have a different slope and a different y-intercept. So here, I need to 4x minus 8y is equal to 0. So I subtract 4x. And so that becomes negative 8y is equal to negative 4x. And I divide by negative 8. And y is equal to positive 1/2 x. And notice plus 0. The y-intercept's 0. I can put plus 0 or I can just leave it without plus 0. So here I compare my two slopes, and it appears negative 2 and 1/2 are the negative reciprocal of each other, so they are perpendicular lines. Now, the next ones that we looked at are for what values of A are lines, these two lines perpendicular. So looking at these two, I know if these two lines are perpendicular, then if I know the slope of this line, the slope of this line down here is going to be the negative reciprocal. So let's just write both in standard form right away. So I have negative 2x plus 7y is equal to 6. I add 2x, add 2x. So 7y is equal to 2x plus 6, and divide by 7. And y is equal to 2/7 x plus 6/7. So, knowing this, I know if a line is perpendicular, then the slope of the line, so slope of line perpendicular would be negative 7/2. Okay, it's the negative reciprocal. So in this case, I'm going to ax plus 7y is equal to 8. I'm going to subtract ax from both sides. So it's 7y is equal to negative ax plus 8, and then divide by 7. So y is equal to negative a over 7x plus 8/7. Well, my slope here in slope-intercept form is equal to negative a over 7. And I want my slope to be negative 7/2. So I have to set these two equal to each other and then solve for a. And the first thing I notice is they're both negative, so 49 is equal to 2a, and then I'm solving for a, and so a is equal to 49/2 or 24.5. So that's how you would use that to solve for a. The last one that I'm going to do a line parallel to this line that's given through the points negative 1, 5. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my equation and I'm going to write it in slope and intercept form. So I'm going to subtract 8x. So it becomes negative 4y is equal to negative 8x plus 12. Divide both sides by negative 4, so I divide each term by negative 4. And so that becomes 2x minus 3. Well, I want it to be parallel, so I know that m has to be 2 because it's parallel, so they're equal to each other. And then I know that it's going through the point negative 1, 5, so this would be an x and a y value. So then I plug this information into my standard equation. X plus b, so I have y is equal to 5, m is 2, x is negative 1, and I do this to solve for b. So I have 5 is equal to negative 2 plus b, and then I add 2 to both sides, so b is equal to 7, and so then writing an equation, y is equal to 2x plus 7 would be my equation of a line. So then looking at 5, if it's perpendicular, once I find the slope, it's going to be the negative reciprocal. So hopefully that will help you get through these type of problems.